guys, I'm Trina and this is Monthly Recommendations. Monthly Recommendations is a Goodreads group that was co-created by myself and Kayla Rain. Each month we give a topic and everybody recommends books that fit that topic, so you can definitely join the group or you can check out the link below to see links to everybody else's recommendations. So December's topic is books to read in 2016. The way that I am interpreting this topic is, if you haven't read these yet, you should get on that as soon as possible. At least that's how I build my yearly reading goals, is because I haven't read this book that everyone's talking about yet. So these are going to be probably widely known books and authors that I am mentioning today. If you're not into those kind of recommendations at all, you can check out my underrated recommendations, which was a topic a few months ago. I've got 3 authors, 3 widely hyped, intimidating series, and 3 book to TV or movie adaptations coming out in 2016 that if you haven't checked them out yet, I would encourage you to do so sooner rather than later. So let's start with the authors. The first author that I would recommend trying in 2016, if you have not read anything by her yet, is Rainbow Rowell. She's got 5 books out currently. She's got Eleanor and Park, Attachments, Landline, Fangirl, and Carry On. She writes mainly contemporary romance, but Carry On is a fantasy and Landline has kind of a time travel aspect to it. She does write a mix of YA and adult stories, and some of her books are set in other decades. Eleanor and Park is set in the 80s and Attachments is set in the 90s. I think she really writes quality characters that seem very real. They have insecurities. A lot of them are misfits for whatever reason. She is talked about and well loved for a reason. I really think there is something for everyone in her books. The next author who you should check out in 2016, if you haven't read anything by her yet, is Victoria Schwab, or V.E. Schwab. She also writes both adult and YA books. Vicious is an adult sci-fi series. This does work as a standalone, but she did just get rights to the sequel for this book. The Archived is a young adult supernatural series which has 2 books out right now, and she also recently got a book deal for a 3rd book in Ness. And her current series she's working on is A Darker Shade of Magic. This is adult fantasy. The sequel is just about to come out in January or February, and she has another book, This Savage Song, coming out sometime in 2016 as well. So there's a lot there to get into now, but she also has so many books that are coming up that it's a great time to get into her writing. I think she's definitely an author to check out if you haven't yet. The third author who I think you should check out is Mindy McGINNIS. You knew she would be on my list. Now, Mindy is not as widely known, but her books are amazing. She's one of my personal favorite authors. She has 2 primary works out right now, Not a Drop to Drink as well as its sequel, which is a post-apocalyptic world without electricity or running water. And then A Madness So Discreet is a historical psychological mystery, which this technically is a standalone, but she has said before that she has a sequel idea if the sales of this book do well, and she gets a book deal for that. So she's got 2 current series-ish different types of works right now, but she's got a lot of books coming up. One of them is coming out in October of 2016, which is called The Female of the Species, and she has described it on Twitter as a rape revenge story, which sounds dark, which is what she writes about, and she does it very, very well and respectfully. These books are YA, but I call them YA for adults because they do talk about very mature and dark and adult themes. They just happen to feature teenage protagonists. She writes a lot about female friendships and female-male friendships. She doesn't do heavy romance. There is romance in the Not a Drop to Drink series, but it's not overpowering. I definitely find her books refreshing. I would recommend checking her out in 2016 if for no other reason than you watch my channel and you hear me talk about her all the time. Next, I want to talk about some series that are really well known and really highly hyped right now, but that's why I want to recommend them, because I know a lot of people have not gotten into these yet because maybe they're intimidated by the hype or intimidated by the length of these series. But if you haven't read them yet, I would encourage you to do so because they are hyped for a reason. So I would encourage you to check them out and form your own opinion on it. Whether you like them or not, you'll be able to say confidently if you like it or didn't like it, so at least you know what everyone is talking about. So the first of these series is the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. I know so many people put this series off because these books are chunkers, but I started reading them this year and I'm almost through with the 5 books that are out, and I'm so glad I did it. I definitely think that they're worth it. The show now being caught up and past the books, I think that now is as good of a time as any to start reading the books. The next big series that I would recommend checking out this year, if you haven't yet, is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. This series is hugely popular. It's one of the most overhyped series on BookTube, but there are so many people who still have not read it, and I've heard mostly that they are afraid of the hype and they've heard some really bad reviews of the first book. I read this book before it was hyped and I had no problem with it. I really think this is a case where hype has caused the first book not to live up to the expectations, but this series is hyped for where it's at now, 4 books in. The characters do grow, the writing grows, the story and the world grow so much by book 4. So of course the hype it's getting now is not going to be the hype that book 1 by itself got. Literally nobody ever was talking about this book until at least the 3rd book was on the way. I would definitely encourage you to try it for yourself and see whether or not it lives up to your own expectations. There are still 2 more books coming out in the series before it's going to be over. There is still a lot to come and you can see it as it comes about if you get caught up now. The other really widely known series I would recommend trying if you haven't yet is the LUNAR Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer. I put off starting the first book for so long. I didn't read Cinder until Cress had come out, book 3. I read the first book, got so hooked into it that I read the first 3 back to back. That was a mistake because I had to wait over a year for the last book to come out, which was a horrible wait, but they are really good books to binge read if you're looking for an entire series to get through really quickly. That's a great series to put on your 2016 reading goals because it is finished and you could get through an entire series this year. Okay, the last 3 books I want to recommend are books that are being adapted in 2016, and the first of these is the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. I'm recommending it basically based on the same reasons I recommended the previous 3 series because these books are really widely known. There is a TV show coming out actually in January, so it's really soon. I know you don't have time to read an entire 6-book series before the TV show comes out, but definitely try them if you haven't yet. I think that it's a staple series in YA and everyone should check them out and just see if you like them or not. I would highly recommend reading this series as well as the Infernal Devices trilogy, which is a prequel series to the Mortal Instruments. I would recommend reading them in publication order. I definitely liked reading them together more than I liked the Mortal Instruments series by itself. My next recommendation is to read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom before its movie comes out in December of 2016. It's going to come out around Christmas time, so you've got plenty of time to catch up. This series is very widely known and talked about on BookTube, but a ton of people have not read it yet, so now is the perfect time to read it before the movies come out if you've been curious in it at all. And my last but definitely not least recommendation is to read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness before its movie comes out in October of 2016. This is a middle grade illustrated book. It's about a little boy who is going through a hard time and this monster visits him and starts to tell him these really twisted fairy tales. It's an amazing book and I definitely think that a lot of people are putting it off and putting it off. Please stop waiting. If you want to read this book, if you're interested in it at all, definitely pick it up because it's an amazing story. So those are my recommendations of books to check out in 2016 if you haven't yet. Hopefully this has helped you find some books to put on your 2016 TBR. If you have a recommendation for any books that you think I need to plan on getting to in 2016, let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the comments. Bye!